So, Mark, did you see that picture of the keyboard from a players club? People typing out their pins when they sign up. I guess we know which pin to try if you're ever trying to crack somebody's card.
Did they go like 1, 2, 3, and they're like, we can't do 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what everybody will guess. Guess we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 5.
I mean, that's got to be what it is, right?
Oh, it's such a great master plan. Nobody will ever figure this out.
So all over social media this week, a giant plane, an old 747, was making its way through Las Vegas, or at least part of it was, and it's been in storage for a few years, but it is finally making its way to Area 15 as they progress with their phase 2. We talked about Universal's Horror Unleashed opening soon. The John Wick experience just recently opened at Area 15, and yeah, this plane is going up. I'll show you what the concept art looks like. It was kind of cool to see it rolling through the city.
This is something we've seen happen over the last, I don't know, I want to say like decade plus of people using old planes for Airbnbs, houses. We've even seen them incorporated in hotel rooms. Just like sometimes just the nose, sometimes the whole thing. This looks really cool. And I think, if anybody's going to do it well in Vegas, Area 15 is going to come out with some way to make it really unique. And I think it'd be a fun place to go for a party or, some type of event. And we'll see some really cool stuff when it's all done.
Yeah, we still don't know a ton about what this plane will become. We do know it'll be some sort of a restaurant bar venue or something like that, probably a bar, but they haven't released tons of details about it, but super unique, sitting right in the middle of the new Area 15 expansion. So looking forward to seeing all of this come together. I've said it before, I know some of the people behind Area 15, super passionate people, and I love the unique stuff that they keep bringing here. We talk a lot about Boring Company on this show because of the Vegas Loop, and they're slowly building it out, but we all know what's going on there. But did you know Boring is also apparently going to get into the housing industry? They announced that they're going to build a very small multifamily 132 unit complex on land right across from Virgin Hotels. This is land that they're using right now for staging for some of their digging and stuff like that. It's right next to the Embassy Suites. The quirk about this, it will have its own Vegas Loop station, but they're reducing the parking down to 24 spaces from 189 that the zoning requires, saying that people who live there won't have a car.
I mean, I guess that makes sense if the loop is fully open by the time they build it and functional and they can easily get around to all different parts of the city. But I'm sure there's still people that will want to have a car. 24 spaces seems a bit tight, but maybe somebody will open up a parking lot across the street and make some money there. I don't know. But I hope this isn't like they're going to do it at the same time. If this is just something like when we're done using this land, and definitely we talk about how we need more housing. I love that they'll have like a bar restaurant on property that only people that live there can go to. That'd be kind of something cool to be able to flaunt around, I guess. I don't hate the idea. I just hope it's not taking them away from completing what's something, the loop, which is already way behind.
Yeah, there's some obvious jokes here, but I actually agree with you. I don't think this is a terrible idea given the location. I mean, the fact that there's not going to be parking, it's not a whole lot of units, so they'll probably have to attract the right people. But this is right next to UNLV and probably one of the more walkable areas of town with a lot of stuff around there, a lot of mass transit. So, yeah, I guess this isn't a bad idea. We'll see. Boring taking over the city.
All praise Elon.
So the Sphere was in the news for a couple of reasons this week, but let's start with this, Mark. We finally have a name. For years, the Sphere has been staring at us, giving those cute eyes, all these different emoji looks, staring at people as they golf, the F1 race, and now we know its name, Orbi.
I think it's a good name. I wouldn't have come up with it, but I like it.
The only issue I have here is like Netgear has their Orbi routers, but I don't know where they got it from. I like it. It fits the personality. I'm glad it has a name because we didn't really know this was going to happen, but it did develop some personality over the years.
Yeah, I think it does feel like, a piece of Vegas. People will enjoy it and have fun with it and it'll be cool. And I think they'll, integrate that into some of the shows and stuff and have some fun with it.
One other small piece of news, the Sphere Entertainment Company gave their earnings, and we won't go into all of that. We've been doing too many earnings on this show lately, but they did warn that the MSG Networks part of the company is not doing very well and could potentially go into bankruptcy. Now, there is some weird thing because this is a spin-off company. The Sphere itself would not be part of the bankruptcy, and the debt on the Sphere, even if they defaulted on this other part with the networks, wouldn't affect the Sphere. But yeah, this company's headed for bankruptcy, it seems like, based on their warnings.
I mean, we kind of see this with all smaller TV stations. We've seen it with Bally Sports, stuff like that. Like everybody's struggling these days with licensing fees and everything else going on with cable, and YouTube TV is raising rates every like it feels like every 6 months. And I just don't think anybody's making money the way they used to in that arena. So it's not too shocking to me, but also the Sphere isn't like doing gangbusters either. So I'm still a little bit nervous about that too.
Yeah, the Sphere, I think, lost over $100 million in the last quarter, so it's still not doing great. I mean, the theories were when they spun this company off from Madison Square Garden that they did it to file bankruptcy, to take all the bad assets and sort of put them off the books. It sort of seems like that. But again, the Sphere is insulated from this part, and I'm sure there's lots of funding going forward, but they still haven't figured out how to make money.
That's a big key to the job.
They just need to get DJs in there every night. John Summit, my boy John Summit, never seen him, but I love following him on social media. He did a show there, EDM, showed the visuals. So another cool thing, just putting a DJ there, filling up the place, and I saw a lot of good reviews of it.
The Sphere is made for EDM. You can do whatever visuals you want, tell whatever story you want, be as crazy and abstract as you want. I think that's really like the key. But why wouldn't you have, we've talked about this, they have the movie, yes, but why wouldn't you have like a nightly, let's say a house DJ or whatever, and just have people come in there, have a good time, open it up. They can check it out at a reduced rate, buy the overpriced drinks. Like, you should have stuff going on every single night.
So this week there was so many tweets about Las Vegas is dying and it's empty, and the mainstream media got involved. It's funny because we've talked about this subject quite a bit in the last month, especially when the numbers came in last month. We've seen some softness, but this week the numbers came in for January and they were great. The gaming numbers were sort of insane. The second best month ever, over $1.4 billion in revenue. Clark County up 13.26% over 2024. The Strip was up 22.45%. Now, we know there's some crazy swings with big whales and stuff like that, but it's so funny to see that the mainstream media sort of caught on to this Vegas may be in trouble thing just as these blockbuster numbers came out.
Yeah, I saw somebody's tweet about how dead it was on a Friday night, and Vegas is over, went really wide, 40 million impressions, all the stuff. And then everybody's like, well, did you see the numbers? I don't think you're so accurate there, but it is crazy because, visitors is down a little bit like we've been seeing. And to see these kind of numbers, this big of a pop is insane. And I don't know if like every big roulette player in the world came in at one time or what, or if everybody was pushing off coming for F1 and then they wanted to come January, had their bankroll. But, you would think that you'd see a spike in visitor numbers there too.
Yeah, it's strange. As you say, visitors down 1.1%, but the hotels did hold their rates. The revenue per available room was up 6%. The average daily rate up over 2%. This is good news. I mean, I don't know how you can slice this any other way. We did have some bad news towards the end of last year. There's definitely probably some softness coming. I mean, the economy right now with tariffs, and there's a lot of uncertainty, but Vegas is not dead. It's not dying. I think that there's a lot of people that have predicted the end of Vegas for a long time, and they were always wrong, and they will continue to be.
I still want my cheap, 2010 stuff back. Let's get there.
As a reminder, we have our Patreon. $5 a month gets you access to our weekly after show behind the channel. You also get access to all of our previous after shows. Great times over there. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas. Thanks to everybody who supports us. So let's move on to Caesars, the Bacchanal Buffet. I guess they're cutting their hours. Shout out to Boss Hog 1987, tagged me on Twitter. He had a reservation for a weekday brunch and got an email saying we are canceling that. And it appears, based on this, that they are only open for dinner during the week now.
What a good name, Boss Hog. I kind of like it. It doesn't surprise me. During the week, it's not the busiest time. Buffets are usually a loser money-wise. So why wouldn't you trim out that? You don't want the workers in there all the time. And if you're not making money, there's no point in staying open for that. So I'm kind of surprised that they held it open this long for brunch.
And moving over to the Colosseum, we have a new residency, not a huge one. So we're back to the whole calling 8 or 10 shows a residency, but Alanis Morissette is coming to the Colosseum at Caesars Palace, October 15th, 17th, 18th, 22nd, 24th, and 25th, and then November 1st and 2nd. And the presale begins March 4th.
I think she has a really big following and a lot of diehard fans that travel all around. She's been touring what seems like forever, even though we haven't seen like anything hit mainstream in a very long time. But I think this show will do really well and people will love to come see her.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about it. I don't know if I would go see it or spend the money to go see it, but I've always liked her and liked some of her music. Again, like you said, I don't know if there's any more modern stuff, but she was, everybody loved her in the 90s. And I feel like she was a voice of an entire female generation back then in some ways, her and a few other artists. So yeah, this will be very popular. It's finally time. Our generation is getting those nostalgic acts coming to town.
Trying to make us feel old.
I mean, Backstreet Boys, Alanis, we're here. We've officially arrived. We talk about Primm a lot on this channel, probably more than we should given its size, but it means a lot to those people who drive from California to Vegas. It had its heyday in the 90s with all of the rides and everything going on. But of course, the sad news lately, Whiskey Pete's just closed and they want to keep their licenses active. So they went to the Gaming Control Board, basically talking about what their plans are for the future. And I don't know what this means. They said they're going to turn it into some sort of a travel center. It already has a big travel center truck stop thing out in front. So I feel like they're full of crap there, but they also said that there might be new retail opportunities that they're going to be bringing out to these properties, notating that they don't run the mall, the empty mall, the mall that used to have over 100 stores that can't rent out a space to anybody. What the hell are they talking about?
It should just be Primm for trim, and then it will be busy. Like people will stop on the way. That's the way to save it. But yeah, like you said, they're like, oh, we're going to try to make this more of a stop for people coming from California. It's like, isn't that what it has always been? They're like, it's not going to be a travel destination anymore. What? Was anybody ever like, you know what? Let's head out of Vegas and go to Primm for a weekend, because, we want to get out of this and we want to go hang out there. It's so cool. I don't know. This is weird. Like that's the way it should have always been. And you should have focused on being a place for people to stop on their way or whatever it be. And I do like that they said they want to focus more on like Latin music, things like that. I thought they were pretty successful. A lot of people were coming. There's a big Hispanic community. So I think that's what you should focus on. Like focus on that. Bring people who drive from California, maybe for acts that you're bringing up from Mexico, stuff like that. Also coming from Vegas. I think that's the solution if you really want to focus on something.
And they have had success and they continue to have those concerts, but that's usually a Saturday night and that's at Buffalo Bills. And that's the point is there's 3 properties. I don't see a future for Whiskey Pete's, but I do see why they would want to keep their licenses active. And that's what this allows them to do. It's basically putting it on ice and then they can extend it up to another year after that. So we shall see, but more retail coming to Primm. There's 100 spaces wide open in the mall. So pick one.
They said they had the world's tallest roller coaster at one point. Was that ever true?
Yeah, Desperado was the world's tallest roller coaster when
Really?
it opened. I think in 93 it opened or 94. And it was one of a kind out there in the desert. Please reopen it. I got to ride it in 2019, luckily, when they did reopen it. And then COVID took its toll. They have not brought it back. Please do it. It has been testing. So, let's do it. Just give me a private ride. Open it up for me.
I mean, that's a way that you can get somebody to stop on the way from California if they're driving or when they're leaving. Like, hey, you want to go ride the roller coaster? Maybe you spend some money. It just seems like the easiest thing to get people in the door.
Speaking of getting people in the door, the north end of the strip seems to be struggling with that, Resorts World included. We've talked about their huge troubles with some of the issues with the Gaming Control Board and potential fines that are coming. Huge shakeups in their executive ranks as people got fired for participating in that. But Jim Murren was brought in, the ex-MGM CEO. He's overseeing gaming in Dubai, a lot of other stuff. So he talked a lot about what he's trying to do and redevelop. And I mean, it's just more and more of this stuff. But basically, Murren admits that it's the land problem. There's just too many gaps of empty land on the north end of the strip, and it doesn't create that pedestrian environment. And so I don't know what they're going to do. But in related news, the CEO of the parent company of Genting stepped down. His second in command is taking over, so it's not going to be a huge change there, but changes at the parent, changes here. And there's an interesting article in the Nevada Independent kind of talking about all of what Murren hopes to do here at Resorts World.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that he brought up if Circus would even sell a little bit of their land. And I got another message. Hey, did you hear the rumor that Circus sold or is selling? And it's like, we get one of these every week or whatever from some Facebook group that just posts random crap. Nothing's changed, but I don't even know if that's the portion that I think needs to go. I think, Circus could be the far end. I know Sahara is a little bit further, but if you built up the areas in between all of that, if Wynn did something with their land and Fontainebleau in front of that area where Riviera used to be, everything there, like if they build in that area, I think you can make it a nice little pocket, but you need development there. I wouldn't even worry about Circus yet. Like that's down the road, but it's kind of like a food desert when you stay there. If you don't like anything in the hotel there, you got Fontainebleau, but you can't go anything across the street as a strip mall. Nothing great. It just doesn't feel welcoming once you leave the property.
One interesting thing Murren said is that they have 5 acres of strip frontage at Resorts World. That's just landscaped. And if anybody's walked out there, that they made a very distinct choice to put the entrances back off the strip. And that is an event space in certain areas. There's a lawn kind of back there in certain areas, but it's basically just wasted space right along the strip. And he does mention that. So that would be interesting to see them redevelop that or put something else out on the strip. But then again, we talk about how they're building everything so close, Hard Rock, all this stuff is right on top of you. It's kind of nice to have that buffer zone there. But I think the key for Resorts World is when building on that land, which we know they don't have any plans anytime soon, because if they built on that ex-Frontier land, then that connects everything to Resorts World without any big gaps. But that's at least a decade away.
Yeah, if Wynn built there and then they did something, repurpose that land, that's kind of wasted space. That would fill in so much and make it so much better.
Just put up a Fat Tuesdays, right? Well, they already have one, actually. They put it up at the top, and now they'll move it down to the strip. I don't know. We'll see what they do, but it's exciting to see new energy brought into this. It's not like Resorts World is still fairly new, but this is a whole new direction, new management. So we're almost getting another new version of Resorts World that we'll see in the next couple of years, which is exciting. I like Resorts World better than I think most people do. It's sort of grown on me over the years.
But it is crazy. We look at like how well they do with filling up the rooms, and part of that might be Hilton and Hilton loyalists and everything like that. But they fill the rooms and then people leave and spend the money elsewhere. So that's where your problem lies, I think.
It's the end of an era. Vital Vegas actually said that on Twitter, but I agree. Goodbye to Pawn Stars. We talked about the Pawn After Dark podcast, and now we know why they started a podcast, because Pawn Stars is officially gone, or it's on extended hiatus. We talked about how Corey Harrison moved to Mexico. It's really interesting. Johnny Katz had a quote from him, and he's like, at this stage of the game, we're all playing a character on Pawn Stars. He says, I can't play another season of 41-year-old me pretending to be 23. So that tells you about how real the show actually was.
I mean, that's what we talked about when we talked about the podcast, like how much of it is set up and scripted, and they bring in people that aren't trying to sell it or stuff they already own, things like that. And that's got to wear on you a bit. And then, we see any show, and this is just like any other, comedy show or whatever. If it's not like just their daily lives and it's more scripted, then you get tired of it. And, nothing lasts forever. So I'm surprised it went this long. Kudos to them for making it, last as long as it did. And maybe they'll come back with like a reality that's actual real. I don't know if that would be interesting, though.
It does seem like they may be working on a new show. Obviously, it wouldn't be Pawn Stars because of the IP and stuff like that. But I love the fact Corey Harrison just moved to Tulum, Mexico. He's partying, enjoying it. He's like, my dad won't stop working. Chumlee, they can have whatever they're going to do next. I'm enjoying my life in Mexico. Good for him.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. We see too many people in Vegas hold on until their death of whatever they own and working every day. And it's like, we need more people to send out that message. Like, it's okay. You made your money, move on, go enjoy life.
But if you haven't made your money, maybe you'll make it at Virgin. We talked on the last show. I asked why they released the name of their thing, and then you said just so we could talk about it on another show. And here we are. We finally have the tier benefits and the earnings, which are very interesting. There's some interesting stuff in here, and I'm kind of excited about some of it. But you will earn 1 cherry reward point for every dollar wagered on slots, 1 cherry reward point for $3 on video poker. You can see the rest of it on the screen. Fairly typical, but then on the redemption side, only 320 points for $1, which seems significantly better than a lot of programs that are 1,000.
Yeah, I actually really like the way they set up the tiers. I think they're actually figuring that they need locals, and they put some stuff in there for locals that they get access. Like locals can get discounted pool access or free access if they get top tier, stuff like that. They built in comped rooms that you get. And yes, if you're gambling enough to get to that level, you'll probably get more comped rooms, but at least it's guaranteed. And then free day beds at top tier status once a year, whatever it be. And that's kind of cool too. Like a local could go to the pool for free, use their day bed, bring a friend. I think it's kind of a unique look at things. I think they did a good job.
They also have this dining credit, which is super unique. So let's talk about the tiers. I love their introductory tier. It's just called Hello. Perfect. Then their next tier is Insider, Exclusive, VIP, All Access. I actually like these names. They're very well descriptive of what they are. But with the dining credits, you actually get, at the exclusive level, you get 1 comp meal per quarter at Kazi Beach Club. Then with VIP, you get 1 meal a month. And then with All Access, you get 2 meals a month. So on top of that, like you said, they're kind of encouraging you to come back to the property and then giving you something like that. And that meal can be up to $50 per person. So, pretty decent comp there. I like that they're laying all this out. I think this is one of the better launches we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it gives you guaranteed value. And then you get all the other stuff too that you get from most programs and everything. But you're getting these things that, like if you're local and you're going to go somewhere and you're like, hey, I'm going to get, $200 worth of, if I go for the top tier status, I'm going to get $200 a meal every month, guaranteed, plus whatever mailers and other things they send you.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see that. We had done some playing over there. We haven't really been there since the strike, so we kind of stopped playing, but we still get mailers. We always got comped from Momentum, and a lot of people didn't like Momentum. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they will kind of transition and do this. And, you know, I'm excited about it. Like I said, I think this is a good launch and some really interesting benefits. They have show tickets on there as well, adding turn down service. So the higher you get, you really do get some meaningful comps, sweet upgrades guaranteed for their top tiers. I don't know, but the third and fourth tier get other upgrades. I just tried to describe what it was, but yeah, so it's good.
8 different ways. we take like
editing.
five days off, and he just falls apart. But no, I think everything sounds great, and then it's just a question of, do they take away all the mailers and other things because they give this stuff? Like, that's what we have to figure out and wait and see how it plays out. But I think it's worth, you know, investigating. I'm curious to see what people say, how it all works out. And then, of course, the biggest question everybody's going to have is, are they going to match any status to it from other places? Are they going to try to bring in people that are MGM or Caesars or Fountain Blue and try to do matches and give them the status? Because it seems like this, if you get matched to one of these status, you would get all that stuff included, and it wouldn't be excluded like a celebration dinner unless you earn the tier credits type of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out too.
Yeah, they do say that status match is coming soon, matching offers, things like that. So we will look forward to that. One last thing, Mark, we forgot to cover the most important perk: free check cashing for all.
And that's dangerous.
And that shows you what they're looking for there. So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. Boring building apartments, the future of Resorts World, Virgin's new program, Area 15 in that giant plane. Let us know what you think about all of it. Leave a comment. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, and we'll be back in a couple days with another show. You hear Mark's voice. It's kind of raspy. He was in Rio for Carnival. So later this week, check out our MTM Travel podcast where he's going to talk all about that as well. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody.
Comps, sweet upgrades guaranteed for their top tiers, but their bottom, but the lower 2 tiers, but the middle and I don't know, but the third and fourth tier get other upgrades.
I know, doesn't everybody want to go get a drink after they go to Unleashed?
See, you said it on purpose, and now I have to cut it out. We talk about Primm a lot on this channel. That is Primm. Well, all right, I won't make you a joke. All right, I'll let you do it.
You can make it. Go for it.
We talk about Primm for trim a lot on this. Nah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'll let you do it. We talk about Primm a lot on this channel. And,
for trim.
Mark's just trying to pad the outtakes today.